right?
Exactly. So thank you all for joining us on this beautiful morning or afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Ean Price Murphy. I am the founder and co-owner of Moxie Bookkeeping and Coaching, which is based in New York City, although I love to say that I'm in California because I am. And today we have with us Erin Hoffman, who is a certified financial planner. And Erin, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here and share with you. Very excited. So I am Erin Hoffman. I'm a holistic financial advisor out of Certified Financial Services. And I came into the industry because I really wanted to help educate and empower individuals and business owners alike, right, on our financial wellness and how we can best get to achieve our goals that way.
Awesome. And so those are the three words that, through the lights and rainbows and unicorns above my head, where I was like, Erin has to come on and talk, because we say holistic, we say education, and we say empowerment, right? And so it's such an important, I think a lot of people don't really understand how many folks they need surrounding them to support their financial goals, right? I talk a lot about, you go to the doctor and you're like, my elbow hurts. And the doctor's like, I'm a dermatologist. What do you want me to do?
Right. Right.
And people have the same experience with folks like us, where they come to me, who's working in their books, and say, but how do I save for retirement? And I'm like,
exactly. So, it's such a good point, and you bring up, and I actually use a analogy of a wheel, right? Or where the client sits in the middle at the hub, the business owner, whoever it is, right? And I, as the advisor, or you might sit with them in the middle, but the other folks are professionals we need in our corners too, right? Maybe a bookkeeper, maybe a business attorney, maybe someone helps with our mortgage or handles, right, our retirement planning, all these different other trusted advisors who we need them to have the wheel turn, right? And I'm kind of there to quarterback those relationships, right? I'm not an attorney. I might feel like that some days, and you might too, Ian, right? But having all those relationships, we need them in place to have that wheel turn as smoothly as possible. So I always encourage, people to work with multiple trusted advisors.
And what I love about the wheel is that, if the business owner is in the center, the spokes are also connected by the outer ring, right? And so each one of us can say, here's someone I recommend you talk to, because again, I'm so focused on the business piece of that. Sure. But I know that, for small businesses, even with many employees, the business is still so tied to the personal life, and vice versa, of the owner or owners.
Right. And that's what I love. And I'm sure for you too, with working with business owners, is how do we bridge those, right? That our business owner balance sheet and our personal balance sheet, because they got to meet in the middle somewhere, right? And how are we doing that in the most tax efficient way? And how are we protecting both of those balance sheets and economies in the best way? So that's what I love, being able to kind of work on both the sides of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I love it when people, that are doing profit first come to that profit distribution. I go, so take this chunk out and put it towards a personal goal. And they're like, personal goals? I'm like, you got to talk to Erin.
Those still exist.
You should be saving for retirement, or, planning generational wealth, or some kind of, philanthropic legacy, or whatever it is. Go start dreaming.
Exactly.
Awesome. So what are the things that you think are most important for a small business owner to know about financial planning?
That is a great question. So the first thing I do with any business owner, especially, if they're in a startup phase, is I do actually a protection audit with them, right? So I'll go through a different checklist of, how am I protected from a lawsuit, right? Do I have general liability in place? Right? Do I have certain employee coverage in place so I don't get sued by a current employee, right? And then making sure you have the right insurance pieces in place. If there's a disabling event or a life-threatening event, we might need to look into certain coverages there. And then starting to save, right? So if it's an individual business owner, they're actually entitled to open up something called a SEP, an SEP, IRA, right? Starting to create your own retirement plan, right? Because you might be starting a business and walking out from the corporate world, or just on your own, and you don't have an employer who's sponsoring a 401k plan, right? So how are we creating still our own retirement plan? And it might not be much, but we talk about what piece can I put away towards that? And you probably have heard me talk many times, Ian, about the three buckets of money, right? How do we diversify where we're putting those dollars, right? From a tax component, from a liquidity component, right? For newer business owners, we want to be saving money in a very liquid or easily accessible bucket that we can access tomorrow if there was an emergency. So we might prioritize a more liquid saving strategy, then retirement right away. So it all kind of depends on someone's needs and their goals for the future. But I want to make sure they're protected in the best way from a business standpoint, from individual standpoint, and then making sure that we're starting to kind of build liquid assets, and we're starting to diversify there for the business.
Yeah. And to me, that is the outstanding reason to work with a live human that you can talk
Right.
with rather than just reading endless advice,
Yes.
is someone like yourself, where I'll encourage the individual to explore those goals and find that why, and make it that holistic approach rather than just, top 5 things,
Exactly.
the best.
Exactly. Right.
And those listicles are cute and all, but it's just
right.
no replacement for,
right.
the kind of attention that you can get. So
Exactly.
how does someone work with you? How much information do you need to get started? Where does it sort of transition from, a free consultation into a paid relationship? Tell me more.
Sure. So the first conversation I have with Erin is just what I call a philosophical conversation, right? Say, don't bring any documents, don't bring any numbers. Let's just talk, right? Big picture. Where you're at right now, how we should be thinking about our financial wellness, and are we in alignment, right, with thinking that way? And then, someone might decide to move forward. They might not at that time. That's okay too. And then at that point, right, we would talk about collecting documents and goals and strategizing, right? And that protection audit would come next. So at that point, right, then I would collect a one-time fee and really start co-creating a strategy. And to your point, Ian, personalizing that to that business owner. And that's so important to me. And there's not one shoe fits all. There's not a mold that every entrepreneur fits in. And you've seen that, I'm sure. So I really like saying, right, we are co-creating together a strategy. And I'm here as a trusted advisor and a resource for you. And I make myself pretty available. I can do early mornings or evenings. And I know the life of a business owner is not always 9 to 5. So I can be pretty flexible there.
Rarely is, right?
Rarely
yeah.
is.
And I love how the financial industry is moving towards this more collaborative approach, right? This idea, I don't know whether that's because women are having more of an influence or just a cultural shift or whatever, but this idea of, work is a part of life. There's no such thing as work-life balance, because that's, it's the same thing. And you want to make sure that you're treating it as such, and taking care of all of the parts and pieces of your whole existence.
Yes, so true. Right. And I understand too, right? It can be overwhelming to sit down and talk with someone about finances, right? It's not a very glamorous, fun thing to do. And I try to make that as easy as possible, and really breaking it down in step by step, right? And here's what we want to accomplish right off the bat. Here's what we're going to work towards over the next couple of weeks or months, right? Everything doesn't happen at once, but we talk about, okay, what do we want to prioritize right now? And what are we going to work towards? So really breaking it down, and it's not as overwhelming, I promise, when you do it that way.
Yes, I can't remember who I heard say this, but someone said, no one is going to take better care of tomorrow you than today you.
Oh, I like that. That's a good one.
Right. I may be getting the exact wording less than poetically perfect, but it's such a resonant concept, right? It's really up to me to make sure that I'm positioned as best as I possibly can be in the future. You know,
Right.
who knows what sorts of luck, windfalls, et cetera, are going to come my way, but no matter whether there's ups, downs, or both, because there's going to be both,
Right.
I know that I'm the best person to take care of me going forward.
Exactly. It's so true, right? And we might have more available to us today than if it's, oh, I'll get to it next year. I'll get to it in 5 years, right? Actually, more flexibility now to say, hey, here's what I want to have happen, and here's how we're going to do it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for going on. Tell everybody how they can get in touch with you if they're like, "Ooh, I need to get on that plan."
Sure. So I will, and I'll send you in my email and my LinkedIn. You can find me. My website I will put in as well, and my website is www.cfsllc.com/Erin Hoffman. So you can reach me there, and my email or LinkedIn, and I have a Facebook page as well.
And we'll put all
thank
that
you
in
so
the
much
notes
for having
sure.
me, Ian.
Yes, my pleasure. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Same here.
All right. Ciao.
Bye.